That's where we are in our budget until we get these businesses open and stuff. We've got three months we're getting ready to go to welcome meals for the next 6 months. We have a microphone, another one that I've signed an NDA that I'm not allowed to say anything about until April 3rd. We've got a lot of really great people, but we don't have tax revenue for that, and they are dangerous, and I don't know how to address that when we don't have any way of doing that.
To the best of your knowledge, were the only matters discussed in this closed meeting, public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements, and that only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, and considered in closed meeting. Mr. Carter?
Yes.
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 Mr. Jones?
Yes.
And Mr. Wood?
Yes.
All right, I want to thank the public for indulging us those few minutes. At this time, I'll be open to a motion to hold a public hearing on the sale of the Oakville site, if that's what the board would like to do.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion that we have a public hearing set up regarding disposal of county property.
Is there a second?
Second.
Woodfield second. Mr. Jones made the motion. Mr. Carter?
Yes.
Mr. Hibbs?
Aye.
Mr. Wolfskill?
Yes.
Reverend Jones?
Aye.
I vote aye also. So, County Administrator is directed to set up a public hearing in May. All right, next on the agenda is technology, love it. This budget work session. First is the Robert E. Soil and Water Conservation District, Ms. Cindy Miller and Ms. Caitlin Savage, representing the Robert E. Lee Soil and Water Conservation District, is present at the board's request to discuss their FY 2025 Community Agency funding request. So ladies,
Hi, I'm Cindy Miller, I'm the office administrator.
And I'm Caitlin Savage, I'm the education coordinator.
Currently, we're an office of 3 with an open position for a conservation technician. We cover Amherst County, Appomattox County, and Lynchburg City. The mission of the Robert E. Lee Soil and Water Conservation District is to be a leader in natural resource conservation through partnership, conservation, education, and technical assistance. We do get the money, we do get funds from DCR, so it comes down from the state. And our most installed practices are what we call SL6Ws and SL88s. SL6Ws, it's more or less fencing the cattle out of the streams and creeks, providing them a fresh water, and providing a setback so that it will help our creeks and rivers. So for that, for last year, we had 15,150 feet, 58 feet of stream protection. And with that, it was funded with $193,024. Sorry about that. So the goal there is to keep the cattle out of the creeks and streams. We also do it for sheep. Farming is not a moneymaker, so a lot of the farmers depend on funds from the state and local to be able to implement best management practices. Another practice that they also do is the SL8A, which is cover crops. So in between seasons, there's always vegetation on the ground. So for Appomattox County, 3,188 acres, and the funding was $274,443 that was provided to farmers to be able to do that. It more or less reimburses them just for their expenses. They don't make any profit from what we give them. So that does help the environment, and that's what our main goal is. A lot of our initiatives are for the Chesapeake Bay cleanup, but a majority of our cover crops are outside Chesapeake Bay, so we do cover both in our area. We do have 6 watershed dams. 3 of those dams are in Appomattox. 3 of those dams are in Campbell County. Currently, the Campbell County dams have satellite monitoring in them. Appomattox does not. The plan is to have those installed this summer. So the main thing with those is to make sure that the floodplains are protected for our area.
And as far as for what we do for education and outreach, I have some main points up here. So we do offer 2 $2,000 scholarships every year. And actually this year, both recipients are Appomattox County students. We also do a lot of K-12 programs. So these are all SOL-based programs. I get in contact with the teacher and they set up lesson plans and activities. It's kind of a way for the kids to have a more hands-on experience. And we have certain tools at the office that all school systems don't have. We also have the Environthon, which is coming up this week. So that is a statewide competition. And we also help with camps. So with 4-H, I do a lot of field trips with Holiday Lake, Camp Woods and Wildlife, Youth Conservation Camp, those kind of things. We also run a poster contest. And about an average or an estimated head count would be 1,047 Appomattox residents that reach the 2023 programming. So this is education activities and also outreach events like the Railroad Festival. And those are just some pictures from some of the activities that I've done. And the 2 big opportunities that we have currently, one being the outdoor classroom grants. So this is 4 $500 grants that are available to any educator, so public, private school, home schools. And this can be used to build an outdoor classroom space, so whether that be chairs and tables or like science equipment, soil testing, water quality, that kind of thing. That application is currently open. So if you know anybody that's interested in that, please forward that information. We have yet to get any applications, but I have been in contact with some teachers. And the really exciting one is our underground classroom trailer. So we're expecting this at the end of April now. This is a 22-foot cargo trailer that's been converted. When you go inside, it looks like you're underground, and each little section of the wall has different conservation and soil-related lessons. So they talk about bacteria in the soil, animals that live in the soil, crops that are beneath the ground, like root crops. And we also have a dedicated section in our trailer specifically for the James River and discussing different lessons with that. And a newer program for our district, which I'm the coordinator of, is the VCAP program. So the VCAP program is the Virginia Conservation Assistance Program, and this is geared more towards homeowners. So this is if you have a runoff or an erosion issue in your yard and you qualify under the guidelines, we could provide funds to install something like a rain garden or a bioretention. And here's all of our contact information, and we'll be glad to take any questions.
Any questions from the board members? That's very interesting. I enjoyed that. I'm especially interested in the VCAP, because I was talking to my landscaper this week about a runoff problem I had.
Yeah. So we've gotten a lot of interest. Well, it's technically we've been doing the program for 8 to 9 months. We just recently got the certification, so that's just extra training with it. But most of the interest we've got is from Lynchburg City, but it is open to all of our districts.
Hearing no questions of the board, thank you for your presentation. It's very well done. Now we know what you do. All right. Next up, we have Ms. Susan Walton from the Appomattox Volunteer Rescue Squad to make the presentation.
I have some handouts. May I approach? Good evening. Again, I'm Susan Walton. I'm the captain of the Appomattox County Rescue Squad, And I want to thank you for allowing me the privilege to come before you tonight to discuss the needs of the Appomattox Volunteer Rescue Squad. I was not prepared to be added to the agenda so quickly, so I don't have a really nice presentation like that, but I wanted to just kind of go over the presentation that we also gave to the town council. Before I begin, if you guys aren't aware, this is National Telecommunicators Week, i.e. Dispatchers Week. And believe it or not, you don't see them as much as you hear them, but they are the true first responders in our realm. So it would mean a lot to us if you would also, if you see or hear them, to give them a shout out and tell them thank you for all that they do. So just a quick history lesson on Appomattox Rescue. We were started in 1962. You haven't seen much of us in the form of coming in and asking for financial assistance because, to be honest, we've been independently run and we've done a really, really good job for over 60 years. It takes a lot for us to ask for money. We're pretty proud of being able to operate independently, but at this point, there's been some new challenges, especially this year, that have brought us to need to come before both town council and you all and request funding. To give you an idea of our training hours, an EMT, it takes a minimum of 120 to 150 hours to obtain their EMT certification. The next level up is the advanced EMT, which is an additional 48 hours. You get into paramedics, that's an additional 1,200 to 1,800 hours to become a paramedic. That does not include your training for your emergency vehicle operators course. It doesn't include the ongoing education to keep those certs up. It is a tremendous amount of work to obtain these certifications and then maintain them. Last year, our call volume was 2,935 calls for EMS assistance. You all know our population is roughly 16,000. We cover 333 square miles with one station. No other agency in the surrounding area in Central Virginia has one agency that we respond from. We are the only ones that have that. We're also one of the few agencies that has very, very little EMS backup. As you're all aware, Pamplin closed its doors years ago. I think that Gladstone is still operational, though I'm not sure if they've run any calls in the last year or two for rescue. We have Concord Rescue that backs us up, and then we're very fortunate to be contracted with Delta Response Team. With our contracted backup, we cover approximately 98 to 99% of those calls ourselves with the backup. The majority of those calls that are picked up by Delta are during times where we get hit with multiple calls at one time. The average round-trip call time is 2.5 hours. So that takes that whole crew out that entire time to run one call. The way that we do things at Appomattox Rescue, we employ our own career staff. So the volunteers are putting in the time and the effort, they're running calls, they're generating revenue by running the call, billing for the transport, and then we employ our own career staff to be able to make up for those times that the volunteers can't come out and do it. If there's no calls, we're not generating revenue. It's hard to employ multiple crews at one time because our call volume is just sporadic. I know there's several people in the room that can attest to our call volume, but you might have one call that goes out in a few hours or 2 calls in a day, and then some days you could have 15. There's no rhyme or reason to it. But when we need help, it's when we're getting call after call after call within a few minutes. Let's see here. So some of the challenges that we're running into right now, just to give you an idea of some costs, cardiac monitors, they're $35,000 a piece. We have 5. Lucas compression device, that's so we're not manually doing CPR. It's actually better for the patient as well. Those cost $16,000 a piece. The power stretcher that we put our patients on, $28,000. Ambulances are now exceeding $400,000 per ambulance. And where we're running into issue right now is we only have 4, and 2 of them are in dire need of replacement. I don't know if you guys have seen on the news recently or not, but the Virginia Office of EMS is under investigation for fraudulent activity and the misuse of $33 million and counting. So all of our typical funds that we receive through grants, we're not getting anymore. All funding through the State Office of EMS has been halted. That is our primary go-to for replacing trucks. So right now, our 990 that I submitted with our budget request might look pretty healthy. After we purchase those 2 ambulances and the rising costs of, providers paying career staff providers, everybody knows that hourly rates are going through the roof. Between those 2 costs alone, our 990 is not going to be healthy much longer. You all are aware that we receive $10,200 annual operating expenses from the county. It is not touching close to our annual budget. If you look at annual budgets of surrounding agencies, it's anywhere from $500,000 to millions, depending on the locality. You can look up, and I've been researching as well, locals that are, bordering counties that touch Appomattox County, and those budgets are astronomical for EMS, and they receive far more than Appomattox receives through budgetary items. We had talked at one point about looking into the Appomattox County Code and what that could mean for assisting Appomattox Rescue. The code needs rework. However, right now we do soft billing. Hard billing is not going to be the complete answer for us. Hard billing, if the people that don't have insurance, they don't have money, they're not going to be able to pay that bill. What we run into a lot of times with billing for services, they may or may not have health insurance. If they have health insurance, and it's through Medicaid, Medicaid could deny the trip altogether. People abuse us all the time and will say, oh, you can take us so that if we ride with you, we'll get seen quicker. Well, if insurance looks at that and says this was not a necessary transport, they'll deny the coverage. We won't see any of the money from that bill. If the patient hasn't met their deductible, we won't see any income generated from that transport either. Deductibles not being met is a big problem, but we're trying to work on timing that so that ours hits after the central bill. We try really hard to make ends meet, but it's just becoming more and more of a struggle. Let me go back to this page. Sorry, I've got so many notes. At the end of the day, what we need is more volunteers to help us continue to run additional calls so that we can keep employing more career staff, but it's getting more and more difficult. People don't want to go volunteer long periods of time for people that could take themselves to the hospital. A lot of people want to volunteer to help people that truly need it, but we're getting abused. So that's one of the things that's a challenge for us. But when we have an emergency, we need people that can get to the station quickly. We really, really need local Appomattox volunteers that can help us when the call volume goes through the roof. If there's anything in addition to requesting funding that you guys could discuss as far as tax breaks or opportunities for retention and recruitment for us, it would be a real benefit for us if we can have something to say, hey, look, if you volunteer for Appomattox Rescue, you might get a tax break of X amount or maybe pay no county taxes. I don't know, depending on the volume benchmark that they cover. Anything would be a help at this point. But the situation that we're in with not having the funding coming in from the state at the end of the day is going to put us in a real predicament come the next year or two. We did reach out and requested $50,000 from town council. We're respectfully requesting $100,000 from Appomattox County, and I welcome any questions, or if that needs to be in a different session, let me know. I'll show up for that and answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Any questions from the board? Ms. Walton, please advise your board that they're invited by this board to a closed session to discuss some of the issues that I've heard back channel. And I'd like to get them aired out and convince somebody that we're not the enemy that we seem to be portrayed at. So if you could arrange that to let them know that they have an official invite, I'd appreciate it.
I definitely will. I think assistance will help. When is that closed session?
It could be in May, it could be in June, it could be in July.
Okay, just let us know and we'll be there.
All right.
Thank you.
All righty. At this time, it's citizens' comment period. This time is provided by the board to allow citizens the opportunity to address the board on issues of importance to the citizen. No individual citizen should be permitted to address the board for more than 3 minutes. Do we have anybody signed up? Anybody didn't sign up that would like to say something? All right. Hearing none. Next, we have appearances. These are scheduled times that are provided by the board to allow citizens and organizations outside of the county to discuss matters of importance. First up, Mr. Robert Brown, VDOT Appomattox Resident Administrator. Robert Brown, VDOT Appomattox Residency Administrator, is requested to appear before the board to present the rural district priority list and the VDOT 6-year plan for review. Staff recommends that after Mr. Brown's presentation, the board should consider setting a public hearing for the VDOT 6-year plan at the May meeting. Please.
All right, thank you,
Brown.
Chairman. Yes, sir, thank you. We do this every year. This is normal procedure. Each year, we come together to revise and set priorities on a new secondary road 6-year improvement plan. And the draft that you have before you, I think you all received this right here in your packets.
Can't read it, I can see it.
If you'd like a larger copy, I have those, if you'd like one.
Please.
You'd like to see a little better?
Yeah, I'll take one too, since mine's up and down.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What you have before you is a draft of the proposed FY 25 through 30 Appomattox County Secondary 6-year plan. You see 3 projects on this plan. These projects have been in the 6-year plan, and we completed 2 projects last year. I think Dreaming Creek and Hawk Lane. They have been closed out, and these projects that were in a lower priority last year on the 6-year plan, they have moved up. So the first project you see stated as priority 2.01 is Hancock Road, Route 644, and that is down near Chap. And this road is about 3 miles long. We are doing a 1.5 mile section. This road has worked its way up through the plan. It's been in the plan for several years. The likewise is priority 2, Route 675 Cedar Bend Road. This road has been in the plan for quite some time. And then the last project that's in the plan is the second part of Hancock Road, which would complete paving that hard surface in that whole section. You can see at you see across the top of the page, the allocations of what Appomattox County gets. And quite frankly, these funds are getting lower and lower. I can remember a time when Appomattox County used to get millions of secondary road funding, and now there's only funding that's for unpaved roads, monies, and some telephone money. So when you look at the allocations across the top of the page, we are getting roughly $22,000 a year for these roads. Right now, these roads are costing us around $250,000 a mile. So we're not going to be doing as many as we have in the past. But anyway, this is the proposed draft of the 6-year plan that I would like to present at the public hearing. These projects, again, have been in the plan in previous years, and they have worked their way up to the point that they're at the top of the priority. Any questions on the projects that in this plan right here? Okay. Good?
Hearing no question, you have a question? Reverend?
Yes, it's not pertaining to this. I wanted to ask about Murray Place.
We're gonna get to that in just a
Okay.
minute.
Okay, thank
That's
you.
not in the plan right now, but it's on the second item. that we're gonna
Okay,
discuss.
thank you.
But this is what we will propose at the public hearing. The next item is this list. You all have a copy of this, the rural Ruston priority list that you can see real well.
Thank you.
You've got that.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good shape on it.
Thank you.
This list right here, this works in conjunction with the six-year plan. You know, the six-year plan is really the official budget document for allocating funds and setting priority. This list right here is a list of projects that people have mentioned to us, or mentioned to you, or that are possible, that can be put into the six-year plan when we can program them in there. And this list that we have here today, it is not prioritized. It is not prioritized. The board can set whatever priority you like on this list. We just put these routes on the list from public input and input from the board. So they're not on here in any priority. That's what you all do. That's not my job. That's y'all's. So, Trent's Mill, we got a request for Route 631, and that is the section of unpaved road that's on the, I guess, the east side of Washout Gap on Appomattox Road. We did get a request for that. Route 611, Bellevue, Mr. Jones, you asked me about that last year to check into that.
Yes, sir.
And we went out there and looked at that, and there's an 8/10 mile section that will probably catch most of those houses, that will get them on a hard surface road. There's a right good section in the middle that doesn't have any houses on it, and the next house is over near the intersection of what's that, Skyline maybe? No, 665. And then off of 611, you'll see Route 730, Murray Place. We did get a request for that. I think
Both of us did.
both of y'all got
Mr. Jones and
requests for
myself,
that.
yeah.
So that is on here. And then you'll see a last little road, Route 628, Elliott Lane. This is a road that is over Salem Road that we get a lot of complaints on. And it's the only road, really the only unpaved road we have over there. And from a VDOT standpoint, we would like to pave this road simply because it would reduce our maintenance. It would make our maintenance forces not have to go over there and machine a short 1,500-something mile road. But that's just something that we put on there. Like I said, this is a priority list. You prioritize it however you want to, and then as the funding becomes available, we take projects off this list and work them into the financial plan when we revise it, or the six-year plan. So with that, I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have, or if you have additional routes that you want to add, we can do that also. But this is what I knew of as of this date. If there are other roads you'd like to see put on here, that's certainly can be done.
Would those be prioritized when we approve the six-year plan, or is that something you need before that?
Well, most boards prioritize these in our work session. And then, based on public comment, you could change that priority. You could change that priority if you'd like. But I think going into a public hearing, most boards like to set a priority on these, so the folks that have requested them know where know where their road stands at. So,
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Jones?
Yes, Mr. Brown.
Yes, sir.
So over a 6-year period, it's possible that all these roads could be paved, or is it a funding issue?
Well, yes, yes. The estimated cost of all of these roads is $419,000. And like I said, right now, currently, we're getting about $120,000 a year for 6 years. And I will say, if you look go back to the draft, in the 6th year of this plan, we didn't even program any money because, there's no need to. I mean, we didn't have any other projects. We didn't have any projects on this list to pull off that had been prioritized. So, we already have the 6th year, that funding is still available. So, yes, it should cover all the cost of all these projects unless something changes drastically in our expense.
Thank you.
So the board like to prioritize tonight, or think about it and do it next month?
I think about it.
All right, any further questions? All right, then I accept a motion to authorize public hearing on Monday, May 20th on the VDOT 6-year plan.
Second?
Bacon?
Oh, you waiting for, I thought you made it, okay.
No.
I'd like to make a motion.
All right, Mr. Jones has made the motion to hold a public hearing on VDOT 6-year plan on May 20th. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Hicks is second. Any further discussion? Mr. Carter?
Aye.
Mr. Hicks? Mr. Westfield? Reverend Jones?
Aye.
I vote aye also. Public hearing for May 20th on the VDOT 6-year plan. All right, we'll see you in May. Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Brown. All righty, Mr. John Vanoy, interim public safety manager, is here to, as requested, to provide us an update on public safety.
So I think I gave on the other, proton, dispatch, control. And, not less than.
Good.
So, on the back page, you can see, the total, $200,000. This is the one, I went to Barton, I looked at that, this system they have, is working on several years. And they, the same company, they never had any big issues. But the system is modified by us, so come in, anytime we have to change to it, we can update call the radio page, so the dispatch technicians come in.
So does that have an annual maintenance contract on it?
We're in discussion with them right now. Their first quote was at $35,000 for an annual maintenance contract with us, and today I talked to them, and I didn't put that in there because then they dropped it down to $28,000. So, and they're setting, every year they were going about 5%, they reduced that to 4%.
I recall previous discussions, we kind of have this in the budget already.
We do, we have funds for it in there, wireless funds.
That was the best part of the presentation.
So this is the one we were proposing that we purchase.
Any questions from the board?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Yes, Mr. Benoit. All the key stakeholders, are they on the same page with this system?
Every one of them that I've talked to, like the sheriff out there, they're supporting anything that we decide that we needed. From the
Fire and
dispatch center.
rescue,
I haven't talked to fire rescue about this. But it really doesn't affect them because we'll be able to talk to them on their channels anyway.
So would that be a yes, that all the key stakeholders, you think?
They've all
reached
said
a
they support me with
consensus?
whatever I got,
Okay.
so, but I haven't really discussed the actual program with them.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay.
Mr. Van Noy, as I understand it, this equipment is just basically used by your people in the 9/11 center, so the
Correct.
outside agencies really wouldn't be using this equipment.
That's correct. And it's all in our little network room in the back where they put the radios and stuff. So this radio system has a Kenwood system, and that's the one that the sheriff's office uses. So it's going to really match up with theirs a lot better.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions? Well, thank you, Mr. Van Noy.
I do have
Good
one more
presentation.
thing.
You have another
about
one?
the radio towers.
Okay.
Jim here has been working tirelessly on the radio towers, and I'm sure all of y'all got updates that through the emails and stuff, so we really appreciate that. But the grounding and stuff at the radio towers is pretty bad, and they've been working on that. We've got some grounding rods going in probably the next few days to help with that. He's been tuning them too, so I just wanted to acknowledge that.
And we appreciate the work you've been doing with that, and I know you must be working good because the sheriff hasn't shown up at my house when I completed it.
And another thing, the dispatchers week is this week. I want to thank the rescue squad for recognizing that.
Yes, they do an outstanding job. I've met a couple of them personally, and good people.
They are
Hard to find.
We're lucky here because we've kept them for a long time. So, you know, it's unusual for moments.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. All right, next. Mr. Wisco? No. It was just an update report. He's already has the money and he has the permission. We don't need to, there's no action required by that. Go on. All right, next is Mr. John Spencer, purchasing agent, who is requested to appear before the board to provide us the reassessment update and recommendations.
Thank you very much. Let me give you a little bit of background. Commonwealth of Virginia requires that the real estate property values be reassessed at least every 6 years, and historically, Appomattox County has adhered to that 6-year cycle. The current property values took effect on January 1st of 2020, meaning that the new property values will take effect on January 1st, 2026. And based on past history, the field work for reassessment should start this fall. Basically after Labor Day, somewhere end of September to mid-October is that typical period that we start. The field work, data entry, property owner notices, first rounds of appeals, all of that are taken care of by a contracted vendor that specializes in mass property appraisals. And they typically price on a per parcel basis, which begs the question, how many parcels does Appomattox have? In the spring of 2018, we had 11,683 parcels. That was the number we used. And as of March 1st of this year, I was told it's 12,173. So that's about 500 more parcels, which is a little over 4% increase from just 6 years ago. So, ultimately, that does affect the price of the project. And as far as the procurement, in the past, Appomattox County has issued its own RFP and has selected a firm on its own. However, in 2022, we joined with several other counties from the Farmville area and issued a regional RFP. And there were 3 firms that submitted proposals in response to that RFP. And we interviewed, as a group, we interviewed 2 of those, Wampler Eanes Appraisals and Pearson's Appraisals. And we interviewed those 2 and not the third one based on experience, age of the firm, number of employees, et cetera, et cetera. And in the end, both of these firms were officially chosen so as to provide choice for each of the participating localities, but also as to avoid overwhelming any one firm, because, we had about 7 localities, I believe, participate in that. And we could have legally contracted with either one without any further competition. However, the decision was made in-house that it would probably be advantageous to interview both firms, which was done last Thursday. And there was a small committee of Mr. Hinkle, Mr. Wolskill, Ms. Adams, and myself that interviewed both Pearson and Wampler Eames. And at the end of the day, that committee felt that the Pearson appraisal firm would be the best fit to conduct the 2026 reassessment here in Appomattox. And of course, as a bonus, Pearson also happened to be the cheapest by far. But that was kind of actually something we found out really afterwards in a sense. So therefore, the committee recommends that Appomattox County contract with Pearson Appraisal Service, and the price would be $24 a parcel, which, if you would do the math, you're talking about right around $300,000. And beyond this night, what will happen is that the employees of this firm would do the field work starting in the fall. They would enter the field data into the new CAMA system, which we've been talking about for a number of months. It's been implemented by Concise CAMA out of Roanoke. And so that's expected to go live on July the 1st. And then it will be ready for reassessment, which is why we timed it that way. Then basically a year from the time that the field work starts, so we're talking about in the fall of 2025, the citizens will be receiving notices of the new property values. And then at that point, they have appeals available to them. They can appeal to the assessors first. Next level will be to the Board of Equalization, and then the third level will be to the courts. So just kind of wanted everybody to understand what the process is, and everybody will be hearing a lot about that over the next year and a half. So again, we recommend that the county contract with Pearson at the price of $24 a parcel. Have any questions?
Board have any questions? Ms. Adams, we need to make a motion that we.
That would be helpful. We've included in the budget, but for contractual reasons, it would be helpful to adopt it.
Mr. Wolfgang.
I make a motion that the county employ the Pearson appraisals to do the reassessment.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Hibbs, second. Mr. Wolfgang made the motion. Discussion? Carter, you have a question?
No.
All right, motion is made and seconded to enter in a contract with Pearson Associates. Pearson's, right? Mr. Carter?
Aye.
Mr. Hibbs?
Aye.
Mr. Wolfgang?
Aye.
Robert Jones?
Aye.
And I vote aye also.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Spencer.
Thank you.
All right, next coming up with some action items. First action item is to schedule a public hearing, R2240193 Mallory L. Bryant. Please consider scheduling a public hearing to receive comments on the rezoning petition of Miss Mallory L. Bryant. Ms. Bryant proposes to rezone 2.36 acres in 2 parcels on Mini Ball Lane in the Greer community from R1 low-density residential to A1 agricultural. Ms. Bryant intends to place a manufactured home on the property. The Planning Commission considered the petition earlier this month and recommended the rezoning by a vote of 5-2 with Almond and Trent dissenting. Staff recommends that we authorize staff to schedule a public hearing for May 2024 at the regular meeting of the Board of Supervisors meeting to receive comments from the public. Is there a motion to set the public hearing?
So moved.
Mr. Hibbs has moved to set the public hearing. Mr. Wolfskill, second. Discussion? All right, Mr. Carter?
Aye.
Mr. Hibbs?
Aye.
Mr. Wolfskill?
Aye.
Reverend Jones?
Aye.
I vote aye also. So we'll have a public hearing in May for the Mallory L. Bryant property. Next, scheduled public hearing to amend our comprehensive plan. The public hearing is needed to receive comments on a proposed amendment to the transportation element of the Appomattox County Comprehensive Plan. The town of Pamplin has requested an amendment to include the Pamplin Main Street Improvement Project in the plan in order to improve their opportunities for future transportation funding. The project includes stormwater drainage improvements, streetscaping, sidewalk improvements, curb and gutter alongside storefronts on Main Street. Comprehensive plan is a joint plan between the county and the town of Pamplin. Therefore, both bodies must consider this amendment. The Planning Commission met earlier this month and unanimously recommended approval of the amendment as presented. And so, staff recommends that we authorize the staff to schedule a public hearing for the board's next regular meeting on May 20th, 24 to receive comments from the public. Mr. Wark, do you have any comments you'd like to address on that, or? Okay. All right, then is there a motion to have a public hearing?
So moved.
Reverend Jones has moved to have a public hearing on May 20th, 24 for the amendment to the comprehensive plan. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Carter is second. Discussion? Mr. Carter?
Aye.
Mr. Hibbs?
Aye.
Mr. Wolfskill?
Aye.
Reverend Jones?
Aye.
I vote aye also. All righty. Another public hearing. Busy month of May. All right, committee appointments. Southside Virginia Alcohol Safety Action Program. Appoint a representative to serve a 3-year term on the Southside Virginia Alcohol Safety Action Program Board. Meetings of this board will be held quarterly to allow for regular input from the appointed representative. Staff recommends appointment of a representative to the Southside Virginia Alcohol Safety Action Policy Board to serve a 3-year term. Does any of the members come up with a possible representative to appoint?
Mr. Chairman, Ms. Adams, who do we currently have? Wilson?
Yes. He no longer wants to serve.
He doesn't.
He does not.
Well, I guess we'll take it down the road in the next month then.
He checked it down.
All righty. Next is consent agenda. The consent agenda includes approvals of bills, minutes, supplemental appropriations, line item transfers, and fund transfers. Any item on the consent agenda shall be removed from the consent agenda at the request of any board member prior to the vote of the consent agenda. Items removed from the consent agenda shall be considered by the board individually in order in which they were removed from the consent agenda immediately following consideration of the consent agenda. So, anyone have objections, anything on the consent agenda? Or questions?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we accept the consent agenda as is.
All right, Mr. Carter moved, we accept the consent agenda as is. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Wolfskill, second. Further discussion? All right, Mr. Carter?
Aye.
Mr. Tips?
Aye.
Mr. Wolfskill?
Aye.
Reverend Jones?
Aye.
I vote aye also. The consent agenda is approved as submitted. Okay, next we have the attorney's report. Do we have one?
I cannot say that I have one. I do appreciate all the well wishes for Tom. And, I have expressed those to his family. So thank you.
Administrative report, Ms. Adams?
Yes, sir. You have before you the administrator's report. First of all, I'd like to thank Kelly Kemp for stepping in and helping us this evening on such short notice in the passing of Mr. Latchley. I did include in the report a copy of his obituary, and they plan to have a memorial service on May the 4th. As we all know, we were truly missed Mr. Latchley because he has been a strong advocate for Appomattox and has been very helpful to us. I did receive an invitation from the town manager, and it was signed by the mayor, and they've given us some dates. I've also included the letter in the packet that gives us 3 dates to look at that they're wishing to possibly coordinate a date to meet. They've also attached an agenda of discussion items if you're interested, so I'd like for you to review that letter as well as the agenda, and possibly we'll talk about it next week in our budget work session. Check your calendars,
Mr. Chairman,
see if any of these dates work.
I got a question though. The agenda, is this solely by the Appomattox Town Council? Any input from the county board?
No. No, it was presented as suggested topics for discussion.
Suggested, that's it, okay.
I'm not sure what the letter that was the county administrator actually said. I haven't reviewed it, county administrator said, but that particular agenda has 3 proposed items that the council voted and approved, but we're certainly open to suggestions. There was just one restriction on the first meeting that the council asked, that we just don't bring up the water contract in the first meeting, and we'll have a dedicated subsequent meeting for water stuff.
Thank you for that.
Secondly, the public radio system, I've put a message there where George has helped us tremendously, and he's working diligently to try to get us an effective system. He also, we put him on our part-time payroll, so hopefully that he'll accept pay for some of the hard work that he's been doing. And if you're not receiving those updates of the progress that's being made on that system, if you would let me know so that I can ensure that you are receiving those. And I do commend the group of people that's helped and the progress that they're making too for an improved public safety radio system. Also, the library board, they've named a new director, Cindy Shue, and her effective date is May the 1st. That's in the report. And the sports complex, if you haven't had the opportunity to visit the sports complex recently, if you're driving around, you may want to go look. We've done a lot of improvements up there. We've put in a playground for the children. Jeff and his crew are cleaning out underbrush and trees, so now it's, there was a safety factor with traffic coming down the drive into the sports complex, and so they've put in some measures to make it a safer place and a better place for the children that may be running about. And we're also getting ready to pave a new parking area, and we're buying new picnic tables, and we're trying to really give it a facelift. They're having a state tournament in July, so we'd like to present ourselves well when anybody visits. So.
Very good. Any questions on the administrator's report? Appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman, I may have one.
All right.
Maybe it's on the community development part, that is, about the transfer station.
Mr. Rourke did report that we have not received any updates from that. I did speak with someone about a year ago, but I don't have that contact person anymore. Mr. Beasley's no longer affiliated with that project, so he was our local contact.
Is there anything we can do to give it a shot in the arm? I mean, this thing is just dragging and dragging and dragging.
Yeah, if I
It
may.
would- yeah.
Yeah, and in any of the discussions, the ball is in their court. They do continue to mow the entrance there, and, well, somebody does.
Oh.
And they had moved some equipment out on 460 at one point. But that's all in their hands in regard to engineering and how they're gonna put that together, so.
I guess that's the short answer, we really don't know.
Yes, it's disturbing, to say the least.
All right, any other questions for the county administrator on her report? All right, there's reports and information items there. There's the Robert E. Lee Conservation District Soil and Water Conservation District meeting minutes there for you. Attached also is a letter from the Commonwealth Transportation Board announcing a public meeting in the area to give citizens the opportunity to provide comments on projects and programs to be included in the 2025 six-year improvement program, including highway, rail, public transportation. The Lynchburg District Spring SYIP public meeting will be on Wednesday, May 1st at 4 o'clock in the 4303 Campbell Avenue in Lynchburg. If you want to attend that for the Commonwealth, there's an invitation there. School finance reports attached. There's also a report from the Virginia Career Works Central Region for you to review their newsletter explaining many of the programs. And I might insert at the workforce meeting, they have a new one out right now, the Central Virginia Workforce, where they have a apprentice program that's available right down to the high school level. So if there's a high school student that's like in electronics or heat and vac or one of those other areas, this program would allow them to apprentice with a local business or even the county. I know Bedford County has an apprentice program, the city of Bedford, and also I was amazed the Bedford Police have an apprentice program through the Central Virginia Workforce Program. So I was excited about possible opportunities for that, especially with our career technical school that we've stood up here in the county. Hybrid State Park, you're invited to ribbon cutting ceremony, Hybrid State Trail in Pamplin City. That will take place on Monday, April 22nd from 1:30 to 2:30. And then there's a University of Virginia training notification that's also there for you to review. An opportunity to go look at UVA dialysis and some other things in the area. This time, supervisory concerns. Mr. Webscott.
None.
Reverend Jones.
None.
Mr. Carter.
None.
Mr. Hibbs.
I see we have some Boy Scouts present. Hey to you guys. Just wanted to say hello. You guys working on a, like a civic involvement kind of badge or project? I figured. You all thought this was very exciting, I'm sure. Okay, a couple honest kids there. Of course, want to express condolences to Sarah Henderson and her husband, loss of their son, and also Mr. Latchney's family. Profound shock to all of us, and we certainly appreciated his hard work that he did for the county, and I think his impact is farther reaching than we would even realize at this time. And reading his obituary, I was sad to see that he had several grandchildren too. I didn't know him personally, but just professionally. But certainly thoughts and prayers to his family and loved ones.
And I echo Mr. Hibbs' comments also. Not hearing any other comments at this time. Whereas the Board of Supervisors of Appomattox County desire to discuss in closed meeting the following matters. Consultation with legal counsel pertaining to actual probable litigation where such consultation in an open meeting would adversely affect the negotiation or litigating postures of the public body concerning CCUSA. Now therefore be resolved that the Board of Supervisors of Appomattox County does hereby authorize discussion of mentioned matters in a closed meeting. Mr. Carter.
Yes.
Mr. Sims?
Yeah.
Mr. Westgate? Reverend Jones?
Yes.
And I vote aye also. So we'll be going into closed session, so if you all like to move to the hall.